Today, we're going to go over international shipping on Etsy. Is it worth it? What are the costs? Is there hidden import duties and taxes? And we're going to find out what Etsy buyers are really worried about when buying from another country. Hey guys, I'm Paul and this is Tendertree, and today we're going to go over, is it worth selling internationally on Etsy in 2025? Selling on Etsy can be a daunting process, but selling internationally can be a bit of a headache. Or is it? Today we're going to discuss why I think it's important to sell internationally on Etsy, show you that it's easier than you think to sell internationally on Etsy, and go over what buyers really think about buying internationally on Etsy. So, discussing customs. According to an eRank survey done in late 2023, 35.1% of buyers were concerned about customs. If you're watching this video, you're probably already aware that some countries such as Germany require a specific ID, in this case a Lucid ID, which is a legal requirement for Germany's EPR scheme. But this isn't needed everywhere. In fact, selling to these countries, Etsy takes care of everything with the provided customs declaration form. If selling internationally, I highly recommend using Etsy labels to get the most ease of use out of the Etsy platform. Just make sure to fill in all the details correctly, and in most cases you don't even need to worry about things like tariff numbers anymore. So when it comes to duties and taxes, 36.7% of Etsy's buyers raise this as a bit of a concern. But as a seller, this is not your responsibility. Duties and taxes are actually a responsibility of the buyer. However, please note that if customer gets hit with a hidden charge that they weren't aware about, they are for real going to send you a grumpy message saying, how come I'm paying this much? All you have to do as a seller in this case is send them a polite message stating, really sorry about the hidden duties and taxes. These are actually a responsibility of your country and not the seller. And then send them a link to the Etsy policy that tells them and breaks down in detail what the duties and taxes are for. I'll leave a link for that below in the description so you can check that out and forward that onto your buyers. If you are only selling internationally to the US and your items are below the cost of $1,600, there will be no import duties and taxes anyway, as the US are pretty fair on this and there is no duties or taxes on anything below the amount of $1,600. So it's no big secret that selling internationally is more expensive than selling domestically. However, I don't think the prices are actually that bad. Now I'm going to use the US a lot in this video as an example because that is my main country I sell to. I do think going from state to state in America is almost the same cost as sending from the UK to America, just due to the sheer size of the states there. The shipping costs are actually not that bad, and most buyers see that when purchasing on Etsy internationally. However, if shipping cost is a concern to you, another thing you can do is roll your shipping costs into the cost of the product. There is an option on Etsy to select domestic and global pricing, so you can set your global pricing with shipping included and then offer free shipping if that's something that you want to do. I don't always recommend this unless your product is super unique and you can't buy it from anywhere else, but if you're selling something that's available in their country as well, they're more likely just going to buy it from their country rather than buy internationally. Please note, however, that most things shipped from the UK to the US are a non-tracked service unless you offer a tracked upgrade. And offering a tracked upgrade on international shipping can really boost the cost of that shipping. A tracked service can considerably be more than a normal service, depending on the size and weight of your product. Just keep that in mind when setting up shipping upgrades. Now, 67.1% of buyers said that shipping times were a concern. However, 75% of buyers said that they would wait 7 days or more for their order to arrive when ordering internationally, which is great news because shipping to the US takes on average 11 days, at least in my case. Of course, sending mail internationally takes some time, but I think most buyers on Etsy are aware of this and don't expect it to be like Amazon Prime, where you're going to receive your order next day. At the end of the day, Etsy is a handmade store, so they expect it to take a little bit longer as everything's been handmade and then directly shipped to the customer. As I mentioned earlier about unique products, if your product is unique and you can only buy it from you, they will buy regardless of the country it's in. On the other side of the fence, if your product is available in their own country and your product doesn't show great photography, great SEO in the listing, just great quality in general, they are going to buy from their country. So really make sure you hone down them skills and set your listing apart from the rest. Right, on to language barriers, and I think, to be fair, this is a bit of a moot point. 21.1% of customers said that they were concerned about a language barrier when ordering internationally. However, with things like Etsy's inbuilt translation, Google Translate, and even better, Microsoft Translate, this really doesn't become an issue. Whilst Etsy's Translate isn't perfect, it is good enough to get the point across and discuss things with your customer via Etsy messages. In my opinion, language barrier isn't really a concern, and it would never stop me buying from somebody internationally on Etsy if they were in another country. Now, at the bottom of eRank's survey, there was a box that said other, and a small number of customers said they were worried about not receiving their item if purchased from another country. I believe that this works both ways though. I'm always worried that the customer would say that they wouldn't receive their item when they did and try and scam me. And this has happened. And I'm sure from a buyer's point of view, it's also happened where the customer hasn't received their item. However, with Etsy's purchase protection program in place now, again, I think this is another moot point. Etsy has done a great job with the Etsy purchase protection program, and it really helps ease the customer's mind. If they don't receive their item, or if it's not what they wanted, quality wasn't very good, Etsy will refund that for them. However, you've also got to think on the flip side for the seller, it can be a bit of an issue, because if your product doesn't fall in line with Etsy's protection program, that refund is going to come straight out of your money. However, if it does and you follow the rules and regulations of it, that refund will be made by Etsy. Just try and make sure to use things like Etsy labels, and where possible, always send tracked if you're selling international, because then it's definitely going to be covered with Etsy's purchase protection program as long as your product fits the guidelines. Honestly, I could make an entire video on Etsy's purchase protection program, because whilst it has a lot of pros, it does have some cons for the seller. Now, do buyers actually buy internationally? The short answer is yes, and the long answer is heck yes. In fact, in the survey, 56.3% of people on Etsy said that they are happy to buy internationally, whilst 27.8% of people said that maybe they would buy internationally, which in my opinion is just another way of saying yes. This to me tells me that people are happy to buy internationally, and My Store Tender Treat on Etsy is proof of this. Whilst the majority of our sales are domestic, we do have a large amount of orders gone out internationally, mostly to the US. And the US hands down beats our average order value. Etsy is a growing business in the international landscape. In the US, it is the biggest it's ever been. It is a US company after all. And just with the sheer growth over the last couple of years, you can see more and more people buying internationally, and this is just a good thing and is only going to increase more over time. Okay, so that was a super quick video. Hopefully this helps you decide whether or not you want to sell internationally, and gives you a bit of insight into what your customers are going to be thinking when thinking about ordering from your store. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button and notification bell so you don't miss any more videos like this in the future. And guys, I really appreciate all of the support I've been shown, especially over the past few days. I've gone from 31 subs to almost 150 subs, and I'm not quite sure why. So hopefully all this information is useful to you, and I will catch you on the next one. Ciao.